Under the sun, the fields are alive. Cheering crowds and the teams collide. In these moments, we stand tall and free. First pride runs deep in me. With every touchdown, we rise and we cheer. Unity and spirit, the heart of the year. Raise your voices, let's make it loud. In Florida's high schools, we're so damn proud. From the bleachers to the end zone to go, football and cheers make our spirits grow. Girls in the game, they're fierce and bright. Flag in hand, they give it their might. From every town they bring their dreams. On this field of gold, nothing's as it seems. Together we shine, together we play. In Florida's heart, we own this day. Raise your voices, let's make it loud. In Florida's high schools, we're so damn proud. From the bleachers to the end zones go, football and cheers make our spirits grow. So here's to the game, we'll rise and stand. In Florida's field, we're your daddy band.
All right, and good evening. We're back at it here for the Northeast Florida edition of the Blitz. As you notice, we've expanded out to 8 shows this year. We've brought everything under the Blitz branding. Each show's got its own colors. Each show's got its own flavor.
Own color, too.
Yeah, we go to Flavor Town here a little bit with the colors. But good evening to you. I'm Joshua Wilson. That's Christopher Like here as we come to you live here on this fine Wednesday night here of week 0, kickoff classic week here. Follow us on social media at Florida HS Football, except on X, that is at FLA HS Football. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube at Florida HS Football. You can also send us a super sticker or super thanks on YouTube. We do appreciate all the support that we have here for all of our shows here on the Blitz on FloridaHSFootball.com. And with that said, again, we'll talk high school football. We'll also talk girls flag football here and there until when girls flag football season rolls around. Then we'll talk more girls flag, and I'll bring the boys football down a little bit. But we'll have a mix as we do this here. And we definitely appreciate everybody joining us here. And with that said, here we go right into the Blitz Lines, looking at what is in the news, or so to speak here. But really, we're talking about the top kickoff classics here to start off the 2025 season here in Northeast Florida in the Jacksonville area. And looking at it here, talk about the first game on Bowls at Creekside. I'm interested to see what this game produces. Bowls, a lot of people are talking about Bowls potentially be one of the strongest teams coming out of the Jacksonville area this year. We heard it with Larry Bluestein last night on the South Florida Blitz, because when we bring Larry Bluestein, regardless of the show, he'll talk your ear off about all parts of Florida. So we got some interesting insights from him as well. But Creekside, what's interesting, again, I'll kind of give a little bit. I'm just going to drop a little tidbit here. You can go to FloridaHSFootball.com/season ticket to see all the projections. This includes where a team is going to finish out in their district, projected wins, so record, but also which games are projected to be won and which games are projected to be lost. Creekside's got a very tough schedule here, and I'm going to tell you why. If they can keep it close with Bowls in this classic, they may be better than what the computer is projecting here for their record, which, by the way, it's only giving them a favor of 2 wins. I'll give you that tidbit. We'll leave it there. What do you think, Chris?
That'd be interesting to see.
I mean, because it's very possible for them their 2 games be the wins in the district and get in the playoffs as district champs.
Oh yeah. I mean, Creekside's one of those teams that they've been rising from. They've been building up their program, and it's been a very interesting thing to watch over the last couple of years. See how they progressed over the last couple of years and come from nowhere and come into the playoff picture.
No, absolutely here. And as we roll along here with that, we've got Nice at Trinity Christian. Nice, they rolled to an undefeated regular season last year, but got upset in the second round of the playoffs against Oakleaf and went up against one of the top private programs in the city over the last 3 decades. Oh, actually, maybe 4 decades, I should say. The Trinity Christian Conquerors under the Dean of Coaches, Verlin Dormany. Colin Drafts has definitely turned that program around at Nice. You know, if Nice sounds familiar, yes, that is the home of the one and only Tim Tebow, where he played his high school football at. Honestly, I mean, I'm interested to see what the Panthers do here. I think, you know, there is some talent coming back there. You did have a few graduation losses, but Trinity Christian, Verlin Dormany at Media Day kind of downplayed it a little bit in terms of, okay, these guys are going to, they're still young, but you know what? They got to the state semifinals last year. So, I mean, the bar's set for this year, even if you're still going to be young. You know, if you were young last year, you made the state semifinals and won a, hey, come on. I mean, I feel like there's obviously a chance here again.
Yeah, Trinity Christian. They've also had their struggles last year as well. So interesting to see how those 2 teams compare to one another. You know, two different styles actually.
No, absolutely here and everything. With that said, as we roll along here with our Blitz lines here, another top kickoff classic to talk about is Ponte Vedra. At St. Augustine, 2 top St. Johns County teams right there going at it with head coach D. Price at Ponte Vedra and Ryan Braddock at St. Augustine. Sorry, I just I had a little brain slip there for 1 second there, but as we roll along here, and we see Emery Smith there at Nice, where Tim Tebow played high school football, commenting on the chat there, but this is interesting. I love to see. I wish this, honestly, in all honesty, but see, Ponte Vedra is in actually one of the a little bit larger districts. 5 teams there and sitting there in 5A District 3. The Sharks, which is interesting, that district in 5A3 sent 4 of the 5 teams to the playoffs last year. That's Ponte Vedra. Fleming Island won the district. Then you had Beachside first year making the playoffs. Middleburg got into playoffs again last year, and so when a district can take 4 of the 5 teams, that's a pretty good where you see that district is standing at. So. I'm just interested to see where the Sharks go here. I know that they're probably still smarting from not winning that district when I think a lot of people thought they were going to win that district last year. And but St. Augustine, another team that was deep into the state semifinals last year. So I'm kind of interested to see where the Yellow Jackets go here, especially with some graduation losses. A couple Division I guys gone off to the next level of the next step in their playing careers.
Yeah, two programs with very high expectations, and not just at the regional level, at the state level too.
No, absolutely.
Yeah. Fun one. That would be a fun one to watch.
No, I agree. It definitely will be that as well. As I was saying, watching that one. Another one that we have on the Blitz lines. I love this one because the storyline around it is Williston at University Christian. The head coach, Robbie Pruitt. Yes, that Robbie Pruitt has been at Williston now going into his 4th season at Williston. By the way, he has just, I believe, from what Mike Rideout at Main Street Daily News in Gainesville told me, and we'll talk more about this as we go on. I want to say I think it's 4 wins away from becoming the first coach to have 200 wins in Florida and 200 wins in the state of Georgia. All right, so yes, Robbie Pruitt. If you go back, you know the history of Robbie Pruitt. All right, several state championships at University Christian. Goes and wins 3 straight at Union County in the mid-'90s. All right. He's looking to see if he can get one here at Williston. Could it be their year in the Rural League? We're going to have to see, but a good test here is going up against David Penland III's University Christian Fighting Christians here, and what no better way, because obviously for Robbie Pruitt himself, he has a very long time connection with the Penland family, obviously going back to David Penland's father, David Penland Jr. And when he was at coaching his time at coaching at University Christian, so it goes way back. It really, if it's a small world after all, no, it's a family affair in this situation, as Sly and the family son would say.
Yeah, you wonder where some of these matchups come from, and that's one of those games where the connections matter.
No, absolutely. Connections matter here in this situation, especially when it comes to games. And as we're speaking of games, we actually have some games do count as week 0 gets underway with the regional teams in the SSA getting underway this weekend. We got some good ones. I think a really good one out of this slate. You got a couple of ones I think that'll be interesting. Actually, several. Christ Church Academy at Interlochen. I think that'll be interesting. I know some people were like, "What the forecast? What?" They were giving me questions here on that one, so they were really kind of questioning me at this. Well, but Harvest Community at Bishop Steiner is another one. Space Coast at Cedar Creek Christian. I'm interested to see that one, but one that I think that's really going to be a lot of people are going to have their eyes on Friday night. This game is actually going to be played at Hilliard Middle High School, just up the road from Callahan in Nassau County. Is Paxton and West Nassau. That game will be really, really interesting to see where that game goes here. But as we look at it here, Chris, we got some games that actually count here to start this week.
Yeah, the Paxton West Nassau game, that's going to be a barn burner.
Absolutely. All right, so we're coming up on our break time. We were supposed to have Justin Barney on from Channel 4, but I don't know if he forgot about us because, in the TV news, things can happen real quick and, things continue to change real fast here. So if not, we're going to come back. We'll have some conversations with y'all. If you got any comments to put in the chat, you can comment on Facebook, YouTube, and also if you're on X and you got a comment for us, you've got to go into the live video and then comment inside the stream itself. You can't just leave a comment outside the stream because obviously we will not see that comment here as we roll along here on FortHSFootball.com. But we definitely appreciate everybody that is watching here tonight, regardless of where you're watching us from at. We definitely appreciate it here. And with that said, we're going to take a 2-minute timeout here, and we'll be back here in just a moment here. And if we don't have Justin Barney, we'll definitely come on. We'll go from there. We'll have some free flow talk here about football here as we get ready for the season here. We'll be right back right after this here on the Northeast Florida edition of the Blitz here on FortHSFootball.com.
Box Out gives you the ability to create graphics at the speed of sports to highlight your athletic department, teams, and student athletes in seconds. Used and trusted by Notre Dame, Ohio State, UConn, Marquette, Georgetown, and many more of the top college brands in the country. If you want your school's brand to stand out through all the clutter, start your free demo at boxoutsports.com.
Touchdown!
Juggled and caught!
I've been thinking about this for a long time. I thought if that's out there, I want to make sure I see it and I get involved in it because to me, this was music to my ears. I was blown away. When you look at today's kid, the millennium kid, they learn by being able to see it. If I can see it, it's a great chance that I can do it. First Down Playbook is a tool that can essentially change the way we teach the game.
All right, welcome back here to the Blitz here on 46football.com and the 46football.com social media handles. For some reason, it says that we're streaming on YouTube, but yet I get on there, and for some reason, it's showing that it's not showing live on there for us. But yet it's on there. I just went on there. It's sitting there. So actually, I don't know what's okay. So there's, you know what it is? It's not showing us our numbers for some strange reason, but we do have people watching on YouTube. And so if there's comments, I'm going to see here in a moment here what's going on here, because that's kind of weird here, Chris.
Yeah, YouTube had a weird thing the last few weeks where they've changed some Twitter from user handles, done some things on the chat, the live chat lately. So it's not just it's affecting a lot of people.
Yeah, I see that. So it's interesting to see that, but it shows us I can see live. There's people that are actually watching. So it might be the app itself that's showing, not wanting to show. So it's interesting. But I'll just close it out because I was kind of wondering why it's not showing me the numbers from YouTube, but it's showing there's people watching. So I am grateful, glad that y'all are watching. I know y'all can hear us, so I'm glad for that as well here. But again, it's good to see that along the way here and all that. But I appreciate everybody here watching here on the Northeast Florida edition of the Blitz. We were supposed to have Justin Barney on. I don't know where Justin's at. I messaged him. He's not been even active on X today, so I don't know if something may be going on and something happened and all that. But are UFOs messing up the stream on YouTube? All right.
Oh, man.
All right. A round of applause there for Emery.
Oh, man.
That was good. I will take that here in terms of banter here and everything that's going on here. So,
if you wonder if the SpaceX thing messing with it too.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Another round of applause there for Chris right there. Oh man, it definitely is here as we move it. I think we're supposed to be in our interview portion, but we'll just kind of move it into the fan questions and comments here tonight. But honestly, Chris, I mean, we can kind of talk about Northeast Florida here and the situation here as we go about this. But I mean, Rains last year. They really kind of just really, they got to the state championship game. They really just ran, the gauntlet. But, Miami Northwestern, they get to Miami Northwestern in the 3A title game down there at Pitbull Stadium. And it was like, someone must have just started up I'll say this, the lawnmower, the weed whacker, the chainsaws, everything across the board and just literally mowed Rains down. I mean, it just literally, I thought, okay, well, we thought we knew that Miami Northwestern would win that game, but I didn't expect Miami Northwestern to put on such a clinic like that. I knew they're talented and great, but such a clinic like that they basically had they had Rain smartened by the end of the first quarter.
And you could see in the first quarter that Rain did belong there. It's just Miami Northwestern, they were just that damn good. I mean,
you're right.
You couldn't put into words what Miami Northwestern was doing, and you and I both were on the sideline, and we were just questioning each other like, "What the hell?"
No, you're right, and it really, really was one of those things. Is like, what the heck is going on here? And it, and this leads me to, along the ways, the thought is, okay, could this matchup still happen if it was Metro Suburban? Yes, because those two teams, those two programs would have been absolutely in the Metro classifications. But we would go back and we look at everything across the board.
You wonder if home field advantage had something to do with it a little bit too.
Absolutely, I don't. No. At the end of the day, home field advantage had everything to do with it.
Especially with the crowd, 90% of the crowd was Northwestern.
Oh, absolutely. And when the 90% of the crowd is, it's the team that, you're only a few miles down the street from Pitbull Stadium. They're right there at FIU. I mean, what can you do? You really, and that goes for any program basically in South Florida. When, for all the programs in South Florida, they had fans show up. I mean, they showed up, and it really, at the end of the day, it was really, a lot of the state championship games were blowouts. It was like, the game's over by halftime.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, I mean, what do you, as we were, I was on with the coaches coalition on the X Space last week here, Chris, and with Craig Damon from the FHA. What are you, when we think about this, what are you on this, how do you, feel where, what, because he admitted, Craig Damon admitted something, and I give kudos to Craig Damon for saying this, is that, there goes the comments finally on YouTube. So they're finally starting to show up. I don't know. Maybe we're finally getting there. There's our numbers. They're finally showing up now, 20 minutes into the broadcast here. There's just the state of Florida has too many classifications in the FHA. I mean, how do you?
I agree with him. I agree with him.
And I think that's bold of an executive director of an organization to even say that, because honestly, really, at the end of the day, it's people say you can't once you take the toothpaste out of the tube, you can't shove it back in the tube. But we may be having a realization that we do need to try to shove the toothpaste back into the tube kind of moment.
Yeah, cut it in half at least. That's my theory. I mean, now Texas, I think Texas now they've got like 12 classifications technically if you count the divisions.
Right.
I cannot remember off the top of my head, but that's warranted for Texas. That's not warranted for Florida.
But how many schools are in the UIL in Texas?
About 1,400.
There you go. And right now, as it stands right now, the number of teams in the FHA classifications and the E classifications is just under 500.
And that tells you that was way too many. I mean,
way too many. And honestly, I think if there was some shrinkage and some things that would happen, maybe some of the teams in South Florida and Orlando that have gone independent over the last 5-6 years, would they consider coming back in? I don't know. But they at the end of the day, there's not a need for A classifications here. I mean, honestly, I would love to see, at the end of the day, maybe look at, potentially, can we look at eliminating districts? Is the district championship really something that is, I know for some teams, they want the district games. I get it because they have a hard time scheduling, but for a lot of other teams, they want to chart their own path. And I can understand both sides of the coin here.
Yeah, I can understand the advantage of the district play is you have some parts of the schedule already made up. But the disadvantage of it is you're playing teams that are maybe weak, some strong, and you can't control that. And that's the nature of the schedule. And you have that in college football. You have a set schedule in like the SEC or the ACC. You're going to end up playing some of those bad teams, and there's nothing these teams can do about it.
No, absolutely here and everything. And it really is, at the end of the day, it really is that here. But let's take our second break here real quick, and then we'll come back in it. We only have 4 games on this one for the pick 6 here this week, Chris, and we'll go from there. And I'm hitting the wrong button there. There we go. We'll get down to there. All right. And yes, Emery Smith does agree that there's too many classifications. The FHA, and I'll answer Stephen Thatch's question here real quick here. Didn't Reigns have some early turnovers that kind of helped it get away from them? And that answer is yes, they did have some early turnovers. They did get to the goal line a couple of times here, but they got turned away. So that definitely made it hard for them. All right, we're going to take a quick break here. We're going to come back here, and then we're going to do the pick 6 and wrap this up, and then get ready for the North Central Florida edition of the Blitz. We'll be right back here in about 2 minutes here on FloorHSFootball.com.
High school sports fans, follow your team live with a free ScoreStream mobile app. Download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
Box Out gives you the ability to create graphics at the speed of sports to highlight your athletic department, teams, and student athletes in seconds. Used and trusted by Notre Dame, Ohio State, UConn, Marquette, Georgetown, and many more of the top college brands in the country. If you want your school's brand to stand out through all the clutter, start your free demo at boxoutsports.com.
Juggled and caught.
All right, welcome back here to the Northeast Florida edition of the Blitz. And I like the background.
Yeah, you see it up there.
Yep, right there. All right, as we roll along here, we're going to get ready to do what we do best each and every week during the season here, and that is... that's the wrong button there. There we go. That is time for the pick six, but yeah, that's on me for that. All right, as we roll along here into the pick six here, we got 4 games, one full 6 games every week during the regular season. I'm kind of curious how it's going to happen. Will we need that Week 12 universal bye week this year? Let's see. We might just need it. We might need it. Without saying anything else.
The tropics are getting warm.
And that, to me, is wrong timing here. Wrong timing, folks. Wrong timing. Okay. All right, into the pick six as we go here. All right, as we roll along here, first game up for bids or for the picks. Christchurch Academy at Interlochen. Chris, Rams having some struggles last year. Injuries played a big part of some things there for the Rams. The Christchurch Academy Eagles. Some people say they had some transfers. I believe it because transfers happen all the time in this state. It's about like changing socks in my opinion. But I digress. But as it looks here right now, as we pull up the forecasted line, Christchurch Academy is an 18-point favorite over Interlochen, giving CCA a 94% chance to win. But hey, Interlochen still 6% chance to win this game here. Chris, what are you thinking here?
I like Christchurch. I don't know. It's an interesting little matchup there, but I don't think Interlochen's going to have a chance, really.
Yeah, as Emery says, hopefully there are hurricanes this year. Let's don't jinx ourselves. I'll sit there and knock on the door or wood or whatever, but along the way. All right, as we roll along here in terms of, our pick six here, Chris is going with Christchurch Academy. I'm going with Christchurch Academy, and our guy Reno is also going with Christchurch Academy. So we are all three in an agreement here tonight on this particular pick. All right, as we roll along here, our next game is Harvest Community at Bishop Snyder as the season gets roll along. Shoot. Hold on, Justin. Totally forgot we were wrapping up. So let's aim for him for next week. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, he totally forgot. It's okay.
The beauty of live television.
You're in the news business. It kind of happens.
Yeah,
it happens. So, but anyways, Harvest Community at Bishop Snyder here. Let's talk about this with Harvest Community. The Warriors got I believe that's going to be the second year in for head coach Nathaniel Whitehead. But Bishop Snyder, honestly, in my opinion, looking much better. The Cardinals are definitely, I feel like, are going to be a team that are going to be in the mix again. Probably getting that 16-team bracket. For the SSA, 8 from the north, 8 from the south. I feel like they're going to be in that mix this year. And as we pull up the line here for the computer, Bishop Snyder is a 16-point favorite over Harvest Community, giving the Cardinals a 92% chance to win. Win probability, by the way, 4hsfootball.com/season ticket, $59.99 a year, $7.99 per month. You can see all the win probabilities each and every week from the Florida Power Rankings Index here. So, Chris, where are you going with this?
I like Bishop Snyder. I agree with this 100%.
Wow. And as we pull up our expert picks, we are all in agreement with Bishop Snyder across the board here, ladies and gentlemen. And definitely appreciate everybody that has been watching here tonight as we roll along. All right, we have a couple more games here to roll through here. Space Coast at Cedar Creek Christian here. And Chris, Space Coast, the Vipers kind of played in that 1A part of the bracket of the SSA Atlantic League last year. Did some stuff there. I believe they actually I can't remember if they actually won that bracket, but it wasn't the main state championship bracket that they had for the Atlantic League. Honestly, we're looking at Space Coast. The schedule, in my opinion, I feel like their schedule is kind of weak in that situation. If once I release the opponent strength index numbers, I think that it will show some contrast and values here of how these teams are really playing their schedules. And honestly, they could be in the mix for that, but in the top 8 for the SSA South bracket. But I just don't know. Cedar Creek Christian had some struggles. I don't know if they're going to be in that top 8 for the 11-man bracket side. But as we pull up things here, Space Coast 13 over Cedar Creek Christian, giving Space Coast an 89% chance to win that game, and Cedar Creek 11%.
Yeah, I like Space Coast. Much better program than Cedar Creek at this point. But it's going to be an interesting game to see what Cedar Creek does to rebuild this year.
No, absolutely, and all of us are in agreement on this one with Space Coast. This next one, yes, Zach Wheaton, we did put the EVA versus Sarasota Christian game on the Southwest Florida Blitz last night because that game is a home game for Sarasota Christian, so we put that game on there. You go back and check out our pick there on that, and we did pick on that game, so we did give it a little coverage there last night. So I do want to bring that up here real quick here. All right. Our fourth and final game in this week on the pick 6 here. This one's a big one. Paxton at West Nassau. When we bring up the line and the forecast and the win probability here, I think it'll be no surprise to a lot of people here. Chris, what are you thinking?
I like Paxton. I just like Paxton.
Yeah, and right there. How about that forecast? Paxton, 1-point favorite over West Nassau. Win probability is 51-49. Basically, cut it in half, right down the middle. And basically flip a coin, and you're going to be right probably in this situation as to who's going to win this game. And I say that because it's really, really interesting how, again, we've seen in the computer already, win probability of 100% to 0, and then we get this where we have a 51-49. There will never be a where it's a dead heat. Somebody has to be a 1-point favorite at least in every forecast. There is no, even if they're pretty much practically a tie, there has to be a winner and there has to be a loser here. And a win probability, there's never going to be a 50-50 chance. It'll be 51-49 and vice versa. I can tell you that.
The only way it's going to be a tie is if it's a tie game and the heavens opened up. So there you go.
You're right. You're right on this one. All right. As we do this here, here's our picks. West Nassau for myself. Reno, West Nassau. Chris is going opposite here with Paxton, and you know what? Sometimes you just need that to happen. Go opposite of what everybody else does. And as you hear that, we'll have those chimes going off, letting us know that we're getting close to wrapping this thing up, and we are getting close to wrapping this thing up here. But Chris, any final thoughts here as we wrap up here on the Northeast Florida edition of the Blitz and get ready for our North Central Florida Blitz?
Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting year for Northeast Florida, especially with Nice and Ponte Vedra and all those range as well. You get a lot of great programs looking to make noise.
No, absolutely, and everything. By the way, we'll get Justin Barney on next week. He is putting it in his calendar, so we will get him in there and get him on the show next week. But we managed to bridge the gap of the time on the interview periods, but we're gonna roll with it, and we're gonna just go on. We got the North Central Florida edition of the Blitz coming up, and we're gonna have Gage Brown and Zachary Shank from the Sunshine State Athletic Association joining us here on that. Be interested to talk some SSA athletics with them, and we'll be going there. So we appreciate everybody joining us here on the Northeast Florida edition of the Blitz, and we'll be back here in a few minutes here for the North Central Florida edition. See ya in a few minutes.